All right, let's get into it. We're going to talk about a pretty wild prophecy for the future of software engineering. And get this, it doesn't come from some tech guru or a stuffy research paper. It comes from a Pixar's supervillain. And it turns out he might have accidentally nailed what the AI revolution is all about.
When everyone's super, no one will be. You know, for almost 20 years, that was just a funny, clever line from an amazing movie. But today, that one sentence has somehow become the single most accurate blueprint for how AI is shaking up the entire tech industry. It perfectly captures this huge paradox at the heart of engineering right now. So, let's break down that first part of Syndrome's prophecy, how AI is making everyone super. And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea. It is happening as we speak. That huge barrier to doing really high-level technical work, it's just melting away. AI is basically handing out superpowers to every single developer out there.
And just look at what these new superpowers actually are. We're talking about spitting out entire blocks of code in a flash. AI can suggest big architectural changes that used to take a senior engineer hours, maybe days to think through. It's writing tests for you, explaining those super gnarly bugs, and spinning up whole infrastructure templates in literally seconds. I mean, this is stuff that used to take years of grinding to get good at. The impact of this in the real world is just staggering. A junior developer, right out of school, armed with something like Copilot or Claude, can push out work that seriously looks like it came from someone with 5 years of hard-won experience. The playing field isn't just getting leveled, it's getting flattened, and fast. So what does that mean? It means all the old ways we used to measure who was a great engineer are kind of becoming useless. You know, knowing every weird bit of syntax, being a super fast typer, being a master of boilerplate. AI does all that now. Those skills are just commodities. They're the price of entry, not what makes you stand out. And that brings us to the other side of the paradox. If everyone's super, then how can anyone be special? Well, it turns out excellence didn't just vanish. It's just moved. It's moved up the stack. The very definition of what makes an engineer great is being rewritten right before our eyes. The best way to picture it is like this. AI is now taking care of the first, say, 60 to 70% of the job, the routine stuff, the syntax, all that boilerplate. That forces the real experts, the true top-tier folks, to find their value in what's left over, that smaller but much more complex slice of the pie. That's where the human magic has to happen now. Okay, so what's actually in that last 30%? What are these new superpowers that you can't just ask an AI to generate for you? This is it. This is where the great engineers of the future are going to be made. First on the list, systems thinking. This is the big one. It's that ability to see the whole forest, not just one or two trees. It's about understanding how every single piece of the puzzle, every service, every database, every user click, all connects into one big, coherent machine. An AI can write you a perfect function, sure, but it can't really get to the purpose of the whole system and all its tangled connections. And building right on top of that is the next superpower, architecture and leverage. This is about making those huge, high-level design choices that give the entire team a massive advantage down the road. You know, picking the right abstraction or the perfect data model. That's the kind of decision that can mean the difference between a project that soars and one that just crashes and burns. And last, but maybe the most important because it's the most human, clarity and judgment. AI can give you 1,000 different options, but you know what it doesn't have? Taste. It can't make those really tough trade-offs when you're under the gun. It can't communicate a complex vision with crystal clarity, and it can't exercise that gut feeling, that good judgment that only comes from real experience. That's still our job. I mean, when you see it laid out side by side like this, the shift is just, it's stark. It's night and day. We're moving away from valuing these almost mechanical skills, like how fast you type or if you memorize some algorithm for an interview. The new currency is all cognitive. Seeing the whole system, framing the right problem to solve, making high-level design choices, and just applying deep human reasoning. This isn't a small tweak. It's a total reinvention of what an engineer is worth. And here's something that is absolutely crucial to understand. AI isn't an equalizer. Not at all. It's an amplifier. It takes a mediocre engineer and yeah, it makes their work acceptable. It takes a good engineer and makes them really, really fast. But it takes a great engineer, someone who has these new superpowers, and it makes them completely unstoppable. It actually makes the gap between good and truly exceptional even wider.
Which leads us to a pretty critical realization, maybe a harsh one. The threat isn't that an AI is going to come and take your job. The real threat is a person who has mastered these human-centric skills and who also knows how to use AI as a force multiplier for their talent. That's the real competition now. So let's circle all the way back to our villain, our prophet. Syndrome was half right. He totally understood that if you give everyone the same basic power, the definition of what's special has to change. But here's the thing he got wrong. Excellence doesn't just go away. In this new world we're in, the code itself is becoming a commodity. The act of just writing lines of code, it's cheap because an AI can do it for you, anytime. But you know what isn't cheap? Clarity. The ability to define a problem so well that even a machine can understand it, to communicate a vision, to cut through all the noise. That skill is becoming incredibly rare and incredibly valuable.
And on top of all of that, judgment is priceless. That wisdom to make the right call under pressure, to pick the right path, to know what not to build, that is the ultimate human skill that AI just can't touch.
So here's the big takeaway. Forgetting about memorizing syntax and instead focusing on that bigger picture, on seeing, understanding, and designing the entire system. That is the new superpower in the age of AI. So, in the end, AI didn't get rid of the superheroes of engineering at all. It just changed the costume. It changed the powers. It's creating a brand new class of them, built on a foundation of judgment, clarity, and systems-level thinking. So the only real question left is, are you ready to become one?